Hello, my name is Rusty Belcher. Welcome to this Factory Design Suite 2014 demonstration. In the demonstration today, we're just going to be focusing on the new features that are available in the Autodesk Factory Design Suite 2014. I want to get started with a new addition to the suite, and that's Autodesk Recap. I'm going to use Recap to actually look at a very large point cloud and easily make modifications to it to use that point cloud in our eventual factory layout. Now I'm going to start by selecting New Project, and then I'm going to select a number of scan files. I have a bunch of them right here. Go ahead and bring all of these in. Now you have to remember when I start this process that point clouds are extremely large and often very cumbersome to deal with on a computer. And that's where Recap really does come in. It's a very handy and easy way for me to deal with point clouds that are just immense, extremely large, often beyond the capacity of my simple computer to actually look at them all at the same time. So here I have a facility that we're going to use. We're actually going to work in the lower level of this facility, and we are going to rearrange a CNC area from the factory floor. Now in Recap, there's a number of ways to navigate. You have the traditional view cube. You can use the control and wheel button to pan and zoom. And I'm going to zoom up back here on this interior scan. And again, if I zoom in, you can see my pivot point change, and just very easy, very conventional navigation options are available inside of Recap. And I'm actually going to fly into this point cloud, and I want you to remember you're talking about gigabytes and gigabytes of data here that represents all of the point clouds you're actually going to see. And I can actually come right inside the file and navigate right through all of these points. I'm actually in fly mode right now. And we're going to walk up here to the front part of this factory floor. We have a number of CNC machines in this area. And if I stop, you'll actually see the point cloud solidify. If I were to, fly again, you would actually see it degrade just a little bit. But Recap allows me to deal with point clouds that are often far beyond the capacity of my typical computer applications. Now, what I want to do here is actually open up just a portion of this very large cloud. So I'm going to start a new project, and in this example I'm just going to pick one of the scans that we used earlier. We'll go ahead and bring that one over, and that's this particular corner. If I were to swing this around and look inside of this, this is the corner of the factory floor that has all of our CNC machines inside of it. Now, in prior releases of the Factory Design Suite, if you're going to use a point cloud, you have to use the point cloud as is. You can't make any real modifications to the point cloud. And we are going to make some modifications to this particular point cloud before we bring it into Inventor. It's one of the things that the Recap tool allows us to do. So the first thing I want to do is change my bounding box. So I'm going to modify my bounding box here, and I'm just simply going to drag this down. I want to deal with the stuff inside of the point cloud, and I want to make these picks a little bit easier. So I can do that and just confirm that. So I haven't deleted anything, but I have kind of hidden the roof area in way of these changes. Now what we have to do in our example is basically rearrange all of these CNC machines. We've got some new machines we want to place in this area, and we're going to have to get rid of the point clouds of the existing machines. And I'll tell you what, I really don't need the floor in this point cloud as well. So to help me out here, I'm going to change my view. I'm basically going to turn off perspective view, and I'm going to look straight down on this design. And the first thing I want to do is erase all the points that make up the floor. Now to do that, I have some picks down below, and I can make a planar pick. And all I have to do is go around and select points that define the plane. Now you need at least 3 points, and then for this example I might choose 3 or 4 or 5 points and so on. But then all I have to do is hit the enter button, and it selects all those points that are in that plane, and I can very easily delete those from the file. So very easy, nice pick there. I also want to come in and remove some of the information for the machines, and basically I want to clean this area out. So I'm going to use a window pick. You have a window pick down below, and I'm just going to come in and very quickly modify or delete these points here. I'm just going to hit the delete button, and I'm going to come down and let's delete these points as well. I have a pillar right at the lower end right here. I have a pillar, so I want to make sure I preserve that. So I'm just going to be a little particular as far as how I delete these points. But I'm actually deleting the points here. I'm not hiding them. This is a delete. So the point cloud is actually getting smaller and more manageable, so we can use it inside of the Inventor application. So, very quickly we've got our point clouds all cleared up, ready to go. If I see any extra points, I can just real quickly come in and delete those. And I've got my point cloud into a state where I'm ready to go ahead and put it into the Inventor environment. Now to do that, I can simply come up and save my point cloud as a recap project file, and then we can use that in the Inventor application. So I've opened up my Inventor application and I want to start a new layout. Now the first thing I'm going to do in our demonstration today is add a DWG overlay to our factory floor. And as I'm doing this, I want you to notice a new command. We can now add a DWG overlay directly from Vault. You're going to see through the presentation, or throughout the presentation, a number of Vault-centric commands. A number of our traditional commands now have a Vault-centric option or workflow. Now for this example, I'm just going to use the traditional option and just bring in a building floor plan and place it onto my factory floor. Now the next thing I want to do is add the point cloud that we modified in the recap command. So I'm going to go to my Manage tab and I'm going to attach, here's the point cloud project, the recap project. I've got it set up already. And I'm going to go to the top view and I'm going to zoom down here and place this visually as close as I can into position. So I'm going to bring it in, place it right about there. I do want to modify the elevation, so we'll just go ahead and add that to 0, and then we're ready to go. So if I come back out to my isometric view and we'll spin this around, you can actually see I've got my point cloud on our factory floor ready to go. And if we take a second and just go to perspective view, and you can see how well it is to, or how nice it is to add assets in context of an existing point cloud. Now we are going to put this back to orthographic and take the visibility of the point cloud off for right now, and then we'll add our assets into position. Now another very nice thing that I like about Factory Design Suite 2014 is the palettes command that's been added to the factory ribbon. This is a very nice and easy way for me to activate my asset browser and my property window. I can also activate my asset preview window if I have to. Now we're going to go ahead and bring in some assets that I have for some Haas CNC machines, and we're going to place those in this area. So in my asset browser, I'm just going to go ahead and type in TD, and we'll just do a search on that. TD in this case stands for test drive. These are the test drive assets that are available, and I've added a couple of them for to the test drive assets specifically for this demonstration. So we're going to go ahead and bring in one of our Haas CNC machines. Here's another addition for Factory Design Suite 2014. When you drop an asset, you are immediately put inside the reposition command. This is a difference between the new release and the previous release, and this makes it very easy for you to just drag and drop and move your assets into position. You can even change the elevation at this point if you have to. So I'm going to right click and select done, and I'm going to hit escape. Now this particular asset has a descriptor tag on it already. Descriptors are new for 2014, and we'll talk about those a little bit later in our presentation. Now I have two more of these machines that are going to come in here, and I'm just going to drop it off here. I'm going to use the reposition command to orient it in position, and then I'm going to track off of this corner, and I need to make sure I have 60 inches clearance there, so that's very, very easy to do. And I've got my machine in place, ready to go. Very good, very straightforward, just like in previous releases, very similar. And we'll go ahead and add another machine, the same machine twice, and again with 60 inches. We'll just drop that in there. And I have one more machine to finish up the area. We'll just drop this one in place and place it right up here. So very nice. The descriptors are very nice if you are just wondering, kind of like a three-dimensional balloon. You wonder what the name of the asset is. You don't want to go and jump in the browser and find it that way. Or maybe your browser doesn't reflect your asset names. This is a nice way for you to be able to easily see what the actual asset is with the descriptors. You can add a descriptor during the asset generation process. I'll just go ahead and open up this particular asset. And if I go to the asset builder, there is a new command that's available, the descriptor command. When you activate the descriptor command, you get to select a piece of geometry and type in your asset description. Now we're not going to do that in this case. We're just going to go ahead back over to the main assembly. Now here's a situation that drives a lot of our users crazy. This was a major request from the users for the new release of Factory Design Suite. I have two assets that are identical to each other, and in typical CAD practice, I want to use the same file multiple times. If you've been working in any kind of CAD application, you know what I'm talking about. To make things easier, you just have one single asset and you're going to use it multiple times. But in reality, these are two unique machines. They have unique identifiers for them, and this information needs to be placed in my final drawing. So 2014 actually has a new command called an asset tag, and it allows us to add unique information to the asset. Now I'll scoot this over here. It's prompting me to select a component and then select a piece of geometry, and that's where the asset tag is going to go. Now in this case, I'm just going to type in a number CNC 1101. That's the brass tag or identification number for that particular machine. And then right beside it, I'll just repeat the command and add an asset tag here, 1102. So now I have a nice way to determine what is the actual brass tag or asset description and asset information for the assets. Even though I used the same geometry multiple times, I still have the ability to apply a unique identifier to those assets. Now before I move on, I want to add some other assets to this design. So I'm going to go find a toolbox. Got a toolbox right here. And we're going to add a couple of toolboxes to this layout. We'll just go ahead and rotate that into position. Place it right there. And I have two more that I want to place in. I want to grab a workbench. We'll bring that in. I'm just going to use the default location for that. And I have a couple of cranes. I want to bring in a gantry crane. We'll place that here. And we'll bring in a jib crane and place that right there. Many more assets have been added to the asset library for 2014. You could certainly take the time and go in and explore hundreds and hundreds of new assets that have been added to the factory asset browser. I want to finish this off with a forklift. And a couple of pallets. Okay, so our arrangement here is getting a little busy, and one of the things that users have been requesting for quite a while inside of Inventor is the ability to create layers to define our assets and our objects, and 2014 has introduced that amazing capability. So I'm going to go up here to the new Layer Manager tool, and I'm going to create a few layers. These are just like the layers you'll find in AutoCAD. So I'm going to create one CNC, and I'm going to make the color for that green. Let's create another one for tooling. We'll set that to red. And we'll create another one for material handling. And I'll set that to blue. And very similar to our AutoCAD workflow, you can select multiple objects. I'm going to pick my CNC machines here. And then from the layer flyout, I'm going to set those to be on the CNC layer. Our tooling and for our tool bodies here, the toolboxes and the workbench, we'll place those on the tool layer. Let me go ahead and fix that real quick. I want to rename that particular layer. You can also have an active layer, so again, just like AutoCAD. And finally, our material handling equipment. I want to place that on the material layer. Now, just like in AutoCAD, we can come up and turn off visibility of certain layers and turn them back on. And it just helps us to organize our assembly a lot nicer. Anytime we have a new visualization command, it helps us to deal with the visualization of our assembly much easier and much more efficiently. Now that I've got that done, I want to go ahead and save my assembly, and I'm just going to save it in this example called sample. And I want to send this information over to AutoCAD. So I'm going to start my AutoCAD sync command. Now, this is where those descriptors and asset tags are really going to have an effect on our final drawing. So I'm going to open up my AutoCAD application, and for this example, I'm just going to spin my view around a little bit just to make it a little bit easier to orient the design. So here you can see immediately that our layers have been honored. We have our CNC on the green layer, our tooling's on the red, and our material handling is on the blue. But where are our asset tags and descriptors? Well, they are here. They have just been added as annotative text. So we can use the traditional AutoCAD workflow to come in and declare what our annotative scale is. And here we can see the attributes on our 2D assets. These are attributes, and they work just like attributes inside of any other AutoCAD file. So a couple of things that make it very, very nice. I can just come in and easily drag these things around and rearrange them. If I wanted to rotate them, I absolutely could. As an example, I'll go ahead and select one of these, and we have a text option here, and I can type in the actual information for the rotation angle if I want to. I'm just going to put it back to 90 degrees there. And again, you can also make modifications to the asset tags. If you wanted to change them here, you could absolutely come in, double click them, and make modifications to them if you wanted to. But now that I have my asset tags and my descriptor text ready to go, I'm just going to save my file, and we'll close it. And then let's jump back over into Inventor, and let's update our AutoCAD drawing. And I want you to see that these descriptors actually show up in the Inventor environment. And it makes it so nice to just be able to look at the text on the floor and determine what that particular asset is. Very, very nice and very efficient way for us to handle something like an asset tag or a descriptor. You don't have to see the asset tags and the descriptors. There is a visibility option, so you can come up and turn those things off if you need them off or on. So to finish up our little what's new demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and turn the visibility of my point cloud back on. Let's go ahead and put it back into perspective mode, and we'll turn off our browser here. So we'll look in here and see how far we've actually come in about 10 or 15 minutes as far as utilizing assets in context of a point cloud, a modified point cloud that we modified with Recap. We were able to keep track of our assets much easier with the descriptors and the asset tags, and being able to use layers and start to actually format my AutoCAD drawing while we're still working inside of Inventor is just another fantastic enhancement. These are just a few of the enhancements for the Factory Design Suite 2014. If you have more information, or if you want to arrange an in-person demonstration, please contact your Imagineit account representative and we can set that up for you. Thank you very much.